How are people surviving out here? Our gas bill, and this morning I got our new one that's due next month. Oh my freaking God. It's ridiculous. Look how much.
This lady lives in California. That bill was over $1,000. Prices of utilities are going up. Prices of food are going up. What's really going on out here? And a lot of times we can make jokes about kind of where money's going, but what if it's just in lifestyle? Living expenses. It's got us questioning a lot of things. Is this system set up for us to fail?
Welcome to the Good Life.
Welcome back to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I am one of your hosts, C. Muzan. My co-host, Kabi, is out on the road. He's doing important things. He's having important conversations. So you guys are stuck with me, the financial guy. But I'm glad we can all be here. I'm glad you're tuned in. As always, thank you for everybody that has been checking in and been tuning in to the show over time. We're super grateful for all the support, all the engagement, all of the messages, the comments, those types of things. We're super grateful for that. So thank you for continuing to watch. If Kabi were here, he would say, "What up, though," to everybody in the true Detroit fashion. He would say that. But either way, we just want to continue to shout people out, the people that continue to support us, the people that continue to, again, share the content, like the content, engage with what we're doing. Every once in a while, we have to have one of these conversations. Every once in a while, it's just one of us getting a chance to talk about what's important to us. If you take this all the way back, we're going on, this is, I don't even know, episode 108, 109. So, man, over 2 years of this journey, a lot of you have been following along with us. But man, the reason why we started this podcast was so that we can start giving the tips and tools and things that we've seen from our perspective on how to live the good life or how to get to the life that you're designing. We only get one shot at this thing called life. And if you believe that, right? Some of you believe that. Some of you might believe different. But either way, we only get one shot at this thing, guys. And it's our job to design the life that we want. Not just accept the life that we have, but design the life that we want. And we know there's a lot of you all out there that are looking to design your ideal life in all the areas, whether it be in your health, whether it be in your finances, in your wealth, whether it be in your relationships, in your happiness, in your mindset. In any of these things that we are striving for, we know that there is a ton of you out there that are just looking to live that life. And Kabi and myself wanted to come and just be able to give you the tools, give you some of the things from our perspective that we've seen that have helped. And again, you can go back to as many episodes as you need to. Some of you are watching this live on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Go to all of our YouTube stuff, go to our LinkedIn stuff, right? We have episodes dating all the way back a couple years, and we touch on a lot of different topics. We're touching on consistency. We're touching on awareness. We're touching on the mental aspect of things, the taking care of your body, the proper ways to think about the foundational parts of your health, of what you're consuming, of what your movement is like on a daily basis. Those are the things that are very important to actually building on, or those rather, I say, the building blocks of getting to the good life. And same thing here on the financial side. Same exact thing here on the financial side. It's the building blocks. It's the foundation, the foundational things that I believe and we believe here on the show that people need to pay attention to start to get to design that life that they want. Right. Thank you, Jennifer, for your comment. Jennifer said money makes the world go round and people need to take it more seriously. 1,000% true. 1,000% true. If Kabi were here, he would say health makes the world go round and people need to take that more seriously, which is also true. But tonight we get a chance to have the conversation around money and what's happening out there. Again, this is something that we oftentimes know inherently is an important part of our life. We might know that it's a serious aspect. We might know that we have some goals and dreams and some things that we want, but oftentimes the foundation's just not there. There's a lot of different, as Kabir would say, there's a lot of noise out in society. There's a lot of noise here on social media. There's a lot of noise in your family. There's a lot of noise in your peers groups and at work, just around the right things to do, the practical things to do. And so again, we started this show to give a little insight, right? To get a chance to just have some conversations around the stuff that we believe is important. Most of those things being just foundational building blocks to get into where you want to go. And that's really the case. We know everybody has a place that they want to get to, but they don't often have a tour guide. They don't have a coach. They don't have somebody guiding them through that path that they can bounce the questions off of. We often take information from a bunch of different places. So that's what we wanted to do here on the podcast. We wanted to make sure that everybody, all of you, had the opportunity to hear our perspectives and engage with us, DM us, ask us questions, get our insight. Again, we might just be one of the other voices that you might listen to. But we've talked about this before in previous episodes, you being able to build your personal board of directors, your personal board of consultants, the people that you look to. It's very smart to have one person that you look to for a certain area of your life, one person to look to for your money, one person to look to for your health. Sure, you can get other information, but if you take in too much of that information, it can become overwhelming. We talked about this on a couple episodes ago, where the amount of information overload, that might have been last episode, I don't even remember, but last episode, a couple episodes ago, whatever. The information overload. Some people say, right, you should only eat fruit. Some people say you shouldn't eat fruit at all. Some people say you should only eat meat. Some people say you shouldn't eat meat at all. Some people say you should invest your money in the stock market. Some people say you shouldn't invest your money in the stock market. Some people say you should be saving money. Some people say you shouldn't be saving money. Some people say that you should use a debit card. Some people say you should only use a credit card. There's so many different perspectives that you hear out there that, again, just getting the information from one source and then cross-referencing or checking it off is important. But let's start at the foundations. Today, the topic that I wanted to talk about with you today, while I had you all to myself and I didn't have to share you with anybody, is definitely along this money line and this money topic. But I wanted to talk about what I'm seeing out there as a financial coach and somebody that sits down with people and has had the privilege of kind of lifting up the hood under people's financial life, getting a chance to see what real people are dealing with. Again, for some of you that might just be checking in for the first time, or you're a little bit newer to what we do or what I do on this side, I'm more your financial coach, financial planner, financial therapist, right? Those types of things. I educate people financially. I really help the demographic of people that typically don't get served by the traditional financial advisor market. The traditional financial advisor market that normally needs to deal with some higher net worth clients or people that have a little bit more in assets, so they can have some assets to manage, that maybe are in a higher at a higher income level or higher tax bracket, however you look at that. Those are the companies, those are the people that normally get all the financial help. But for me and for what we do on this side, we're taking care of everybody else. We're taking care of the people, most of you that are watching. Kabir and I call you guys the corporate athletes, the entrepreneurs, the people that maybe aren't sitting down and working with a health coach or a financial coach, very independent, might be doing things on your own. Know that you have some areas to improve, but just haven't taken the time to sit down or haven't found the right person to sit down with that's going to be able to guide you through the process. So that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do for you on the money side of things. So I wanted to get a chance to share with you some of the things that I've been seeing. Obviously, I have one-on-one conversations with people, so I get a chance to see all different demographics. I get a chance to see those that are under 30 years old, that are starting out in their career, that are having conversations around finance, but also get a chance to indulge in social media a lot, and see quick money, and see different investment opportunities, and a lot of times are attracted to those things, but don't have a full foundation. Work with people, you know, whether you call them the older millennials, right? The 32 and ups, like the 32 to 37s, 38s, that are actively in the career, actively working, but really still trying to figure it out, really going through the process of figuring out some things, and not working with anyone financially, taking information from, again, social media, from peers, from their friend group, right? From people at work, but really still don't have a solid foundation. Also working with those that are hitting their stride in their mid 40s, late 40s. Many of them have reached out to a financial advisor before, have had conversations, have seen some of the processes of building wealth, or right, getting to a foundation, but also in the back of their mind feeling like time's kind of running out. They got to figure out that next move, that next big investment, that next thing to go do, to really kind of get to that last stage, so to speak, that retirement, that time to say, hey, this is now my second career, third career, my kind of riding off into the sunset moments. That's what they're thinking about. Also get a chance to sit down with those that are in that process of retiring in a year or two, or just started to retire, and their unpreparedness, not having all the money that they want, having the fear that they may outlive the money, or run out of it, and right, not trusting the stock market after what we just saw last year. There's so much happening out there in the financial space. Wanted to be able to bring you a few different topics tonight that we can talk about. I'm going to actually source a couple of these from social media, because these are things that I see outside of working with our own clients and the people that we talk to. These are some of the things that I've seen online. I wanted to be able to share it with you, and kind of run through how many people are actually feeling this way. And then also on the back end, those of you that are following on LinkedIn, you might know we've been putting out some polls. We've been sourcing some information from everyone and saying, hey, what are the things that are important? We want to touch on some of those topics so I can give you all insight, for a few reasons. One, because it's good to know that you're not alone if you're feeling any of these things financially. One of the detriments of this, money business, or the money game, so to speak, one of the detriments is that we don't really talk about money with a lot of people. So if we are going through a rough patch or a winter season, so to speak, in our finances, we're often not talking to people about it. So it makes us feel very isolated and very alone. And that's just furthest thing from the truth, because most people are dealing with the same type of issues or having the same thoughts. So that's one thing. I want to bring the stuff to you so you know that you're not alone. And two, I also want you to get some hope for the future, and hope to understand that things can get better, and that if you feel any of these ways or have some of these similar thoughts, that there's ways to move past it. So I'm gonna take a second here, and I'm gonna load up a video from none other than TikTok, right? And we're gonna dive in and kind of take a listen to this young lady, and then we'll circle back around. But I'm curious, for everyone that's listening, have you felt like this before? Is this feeling common to you?
How are we supposed to balance everything? I am drowning. I wake up in the morning, I pack my kids' lunches, I drive them to school. I have to rush back so I can make it to my first meeting. My boss tells me that I'm not engaged enough on Zoom, so I have to try harder there. I spend all day doing my job where I don't even leave my desk chair. My house is falling apart. I don't even have time to take my dogs outside during the day. And somehow I'm also supposed to be working out, cooking dinner at night, eating right, helping them with homework. I spend my lunch break picking them up from school, and I don't even get 5 minutes to myself during the day. And not even enough. Like, I'm not doing anything 100%. When is it just enough?
So, how many of us are feeling that way? How many of you might understand what that young lady is saying and how she's feeling about things? Like, when is it going to be enough? Again, this is the show. We're talking about getting to the good life. The life where you have ultimate health, wealth, happiness, love, great relationships, fulfillment, those things. But yet this is the reality of where a lot of us sit. A lot of us are having these feelings of, man, I just don't have time. I'm overwhelmed. There's so much that I'm doing. There's so much I have going on. Like she said, I'm waking up, I'm dropping the kids off. I don't have time to even walk the dogs. I'm sitting, sitting at work. My boss is saying it's not enough, right? My manager's saying I'm not engaged enough, so I'm not giving work 100%. Those of us that are parents, right, might not be giving parenting 100%. Then on top of that, like she said, supposed to eat right, supposed to work out, supposed to, right, take care of our body, take care of all those things. How many of us are feeling that way? How many of you guys are feeling those types of things? I know it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of people. To that point, if I dive back in and show you that in the comments, people agreeing. They're saying, look, I'm drowning here. It isn't us. The system and the world is failing us. We're living unnatural lives. We're feeling the effects of it. Right? This lady said, this made me cry because I feel like this every day. It feels like it's never enough. This other person said, you're not alone. These are getting hundreds of likes, 638 likes, 722 likes, 1,300 likes. You're not alone. We're being asked to do entirely too much. This is not how it's supposed to be. People saying that they're trying to do enough. Says, as soon as I had kids, I was never able to give 100% to anything, right? There's so many people feeling this way, ladies and gentlemen. There's so many people feeling this way. I want you to know, if you're feeling this way, you're not alone. You're not alone. There's some things that we can do. There's some things that we can do to maybe try to counteract those things. There's some things that we can do to say, you know what? Maybe I need to take control of my time again. So if anybody is feeling that way, again, that was just from one TikTok, but at the end of the day, I know a lot of people are sitting in that same position. So here's something that I can give, and this isn't necessarily just on the money side, but it's something we've talked about a ton here on The Good Life, is make sure that you're prioritizing the right things. We can't do everything when you have 80 things to do. That's not how we're designed. We're not designed to do 80 things and do them all at 100% and be on the go. But like, you have to learn how to prioritize certain things and make your life a little bit more efficient, a little bit more effective. First and foremost, something that you've maybe heard us talk about here on the show before, or you've heard me talk about it specifically, is getting some time to disconnect, to have that morning routine. For most of us, waking up, we're automatically in chaos. We wake up, either alarm clock, late to work, got to get the kids, got to move. There's something happening that's already chaotic in our life. So that bleeds into the rest of our day. So if we could get that first 15 minutes of your day, that first 10 minutes of your day, that first 30 minutes of your day, whatever it is, but if you can get that time for yourself, that might mean you have to wake up an hour earlier before the kids are up. That might mean you have to wake up 45 minutes earlier. These are sacrifices that we make in order to design the life that we want, to get to the good life. But maybe just taking that time in the morning, Taking that time in the morning to say, let me connect with myself. Let me journal. Let me pray. Let me meditate. Let me move my body. Let me hydrate myself. The things that would then give you energy and mindfulness to go about the rest of your day might be something to practice. It might be a habit to practice. And through that, you're now prioritizing yourself at the beginning of the day before the rest of the world sends you running and spinning and going in all different directions. You can prioritize yourself for that 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes in the morning. And then you go about the rest of your day. Then there might be other times throughout the day that you can disconnect, or could be would talk about maybe going out and grounding, spending 10 minutes in the sun. Those of you that are living in places that the sun is still strong. I know it's winter for most people, or heading into spring, actually, right? First day of spring. But some people live in a place where the sun is still strong. How often do you just take that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes to walk outside, put your feet firmly in the ground, feel the dirt, let the vitamin D hit you? Those are the things that bring us energy. They also bring us mental clarity to get through the day. And then what about the nighttime? The nighttime routine. What happens when you are done for the day? Are we doing things that give us energy or take our energy away? There was probably an older episode, I want to say maybe episode in I don't know, episode 70-ish something of The Good Life, where we talk a lot about the things that bring us energy versus the things that take our energy away. And most of the things that people do actually takes their energy away. The escapism of TV, right? The drinking, the smoking, the the casual nature of the end of their night, where they're doing mind-numbing things or body-numbing things, actually is the thing that continues to take energy away from us, versus adding things in that will bring us energy. Stretching, listening to good vibration music, drinking teas and herbal things, like going down the path of calming our nervous system. Maybe just for that last 20 minutes. Maybe it's after you put the kids to bed. Maybe it's directly after, everything slows down. You just cleaned the kitchen and you just came home, or whatever the case is. You just took your shower. Whatever your night routine is, maybe it doesn't end in something mind numbing. Maybe it ends in something that brings us energy. I appreciate your comment. Greg, look, he says his 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. before his wife wakes up is productive and soul feeding. I love that. Proud of you too for getting the full 2 hours, right? The full 2 hours, 5 to 7. Most people, Robin Sharma wrote a book called the 5 a.m. Club, right? More people, or people that wake up at that time, get more things done than, people that wake up later than that time, basically. So that 5 a.m. time is special for a lot of people. And it sounds like for Greg, it's special because it's soul. What do you say? It's soul feeding. Feed your soul. Just that little bit of time to take care of yourself. So again, this is just for anybody that's feeling like that lady just felt on that video that says, when is enough enough? Like, when can this thing slow down? Well, life probably won't slow down, but you can manage the time a little bit better. You can manage yourself in time a little bit better. You can break some habits and take that beginning 20 minutes, or if you're like Greg, take 2 hours if you can. That back end of your day, that last 30 minutes, that last 45 minutes or an hour before you go to sleep. And you can control those things. The rest of the middle of the day, you might not be able to control. You might be over busy. If you are that corporate athlete, that entrepreneur, that person that is working and continuing to work hard, well, guess what? You might not have as much time as everyone else. But I promise you, if you stay focused on those things, it'll start to really change your days. So that was one. That was one video I saw that I knew a lot of people are dealing with that. I could tell by the comments, and I just know by people that I'm speaking with that time is an issue, that overwhelm is a real issue. Here's something else that I saw, though, a little bit more on the money side.
How are people surviving out here? That's what I want to know. This is about to be a long video, okay? Yesterday I talked about the our gas bill, and this morning I got our new one that's due next month. Oh my freaking god. It's ridiculous. Look how much. Why? I was talking to one of my coworkers yesterday about the bill, and she told me that her daughter's bill was 800 and a friend of hers was 1,000. And I was thinking like, oh, we must be doing pretty good. We're not using that much gas. That's like the price of some people's mortgage, okay? Like, why? Why is the gas bill so high? My husband and I, we both have good jobs. We both make good money. And even I'm tripping about that. Like, there's no reason for a bill to be that high. I want to move now. I seriously want to move out of the state. I told my husband, pack our bags, get out of here.
This lady lives in California, just so everyone knows. She lives in California. But did you see what that bill was? That bill was over $1,000 for her gas bill. Over $1,000. Anybody else seen the price of stuff go up? Obviously, we've been hearing those inflation words over and over again, probably for the past, 6 months now. Inflation this, inflation that, but it's hitting people's pockets. It's hitting people's pockets now. You start seeing this in states like California, but you see it all over. Prices of things are going up. Prices of utilities are going up. Prices of food are going up. And it's hitting people's pockets financially. What's the solution? Right? What's really going on? That was the title of that. What's really going on out here? Again, I get a chance to see this. I get a chance to see this all the time because I sit down with people one-on-one and get a chance to look at their financial life. And a lot of times we can make jokes about kind of where money's going, but what if it's just in lifestyle, living expenses, cost of gas, the cost of your utilities, your energy, the cost of groceries, not dining out, but groceries. It's got us questioning a lot of things. Is this system set up for us to fail? Is this system set up for us to fail? Is it that we just are running out of time and we're just constantly moving and never feel like it's enough and we don't have enough time? On the other side, now our money is running short. You heard that lady say, right? We have good jobs, dual household income, probably making right above the standard 6-figure mark for most people. Might be in the mid 200s. And still, that's a lot. It's a lot of money to pay just on your gas bill, $1,000 a month. Wonder what the food bill looks like. Wonder about some of the other discretionary or non-discretionary spending. But this is what we're seeing out here. So if you're feeling any of these things, ladies and gentlemen, this is why the episode today was giving you insight of what's actually happening out there. Giving you insight of you're not alone if you're feeling any of these things. If you're feeling like your money's getting tight, if you're feeling like time is getting tight, it's the way the system is. It's the way things are happening. Right? There's a lot of people out here that are making money, yet the money is just seeping out. So this is why I come in and start having the conversation with you about making sure the foundations are good. You see, it's in the tough times, in the winter seasons, in the times in our life, especially in our financial life, where our cracks in our foundation, so to speak, get exposed. The cracks that we've been building up, the things that we've just kind of skipped over because the economy has been good for the past 11, 12 years, because we've been making money in the stock market, because our real estate has been going up, right? Because we've seen, we had some PPP loans for those of you that got those, right? We had some of that stuff happen. But now expenses go up, inflation's up a little bit. There's some other, right, murmurings and things of people getting laid off. Those of you that have been in the tech space, obviously, over the past 6 to 9 months have felt some of those. So now things are getting a little bit tight. So now it's time to check your foundation. Now it's not time to get fancy, buy that new thing, buy that, right, that dream home potentially. That this might not be the time if some of your cracks in your foundation are getting exposed. So we got to get back to the basics. Again, giving you some hope if you are feeling this way. Some hope for you. It's simple. Just get back to what are the income and what is the income and what are the expenses? It's the first place to always start. Whether you're a business owner or whether you're just dealing in your personal family's finances, you just got to look at what's coming in and what's going out and be real with it. Often I would teach this to people. It's not just about budgeting, it's about tracking. Budgeting is a look forward. Budgeting is like forecasting in the business world, right? This is my spending plan. This is what I would like to happen with my money. That's forecasting. That's looking into the future. But we can't get a realistic budget unless we've looked in the past and we've been able to track exactly where the money went. So yes, some of the fixed bills, some of the fixed expenses of our house, the mortgage, the rent, the car, the insurance, the cell phone, the utilities, those things, they might be similar, but they've probably been going up over the past 6 months to 12 months, potentially, slowly creeping up. But we have to know exactly how much is going just to the fixed expenses. Then we have to look at and be very honest, ladies and gentlemen, be very honest with your miscellaneous spending, your discretionary and non-discretionary spending. How much went to car gas? If you are living in a place like California and you have to drive everywhere, well, how much did you spend on gas last month before you can budget and say, this is how much I would like to spend so I can supplement with carpooling or, Southern California definitely doesn't have good public transportation. I live on the East Coast, so we could talk about public transportation out here, but in a place like California, you're definitely not getting the public transportation. But maybe you could supplement with an Uber or a car ride from your coworker or, right, just finding ways to save on gas, whatever the case is. But first, you got to know exactly how much actually went there. So then you can adjust those habits. This is foundational, ladies and gentlemen. This is the foundational things that you got to pay attention to if things start getting tight. Not to mention the food budget. There was a Twitter thread that asked, hey, what do you spend the most money on? Or what's the thing that you don't think about that you spend the most money on? And probably 75% of the tweets that were under that thread said dining out, eating outside of the home. Saw another clip from another financial professional, right? Like kind of money coach type of deal. And he was saying it's the food expenses that are the thing that most people should be focused on cutting back in order to kind of put some more of that money back in the pocket. So knowing exactly how much dining out is, just all meals outside of the house. That same financial coach was talking about one of the other wastes of money is like pre-made foods. Like even if you do go to the supermarket, but you buy all the cut up fruit or you buy all the pre-cut up vegetables or the pre-packaged meals that they make, right? Even that is a form of overspending if you're going to go to the grocery store. Granted, it could be a time saver for you, but if we're just talking from the money side, you got to know that buying that whole watermelon and cutting it yourself is going to be much cheaper than buying the pre-cut watermelon that they already have in the package. These are some things that we have to pay attention to if we want to start lowering that food cost, not to mention some of the spending. Again, when we come from a decade of good times, which since 2009. In all honesty, it's been good times in the market. It's been good times financially for most people. If we're coming from 10 years of that, well, you might have a shopping habit now that has become an actual habit because you haven't had to curtail it. You might have some things that you really think are needs right now, but they're really just wants. Like you could stay away from them for a few months, or you could back that expense down a little bit, but you might not remember, might not know that because you've had 10 years of feeling good. So, like I said, once things get tight, that's when the cracks get exposed. And the way that we, right, fix this is we just get back to sealing up some of those cracks, get back to the foundation. Look at what's coming in and what's going out. Track it first before you budget it, because your budget may not be realistic if you're not tracking. Pay attention to what you have in savings, maybe a high yield savings account, something that can gain you a little interest, but it's not being risked in the market. And then look at your debt. Look at that debt. Make sure that like we're not racking up more or paying more into it, or paying more for things than we need to. The third thing that I had pulled out for you guys as an article really quick was something I found on Twitter that for those of you that have been paying attention to the student loan forgiveness side of things, it's a real issue. And now, right, there's some Supreme Court proceedings happening that are specifically talking about it. But since we're having this conversation around debt, let's talk just for a second about student loan debt. Right? CNN had put this article out. It said, student loan borrowers, what are you doing with the money saved while payments are paused? And that brought a whole host of comments and a whole host of tweets. Like, what do you mean? What are we doing with the saved money? Like, just because it's not going to the student loan companies, right? To the loan companies, to Sally Mae or Navient or whoever it is now, or your Fed loan or whatever it is, doesn't mean it's getting saved. It just means that it got redirected. It didn't get spent frivolously for most people. Like this young lady posted, we're out here just trying to live. That money goes to food, housing, gas, utilities, medical care, and basic living. And she says, oh, and we don't have retirement plans or savings. And this is someone, by her Twitter, is a PhD, is a psychologist, is right? So clinical psychologist, has a PhD. So says her tweet or her Twitter handle. But also saying that the price of things has still continued to rise. So that money is not necessarily just going right back in our pockets. It's going right back out. And again, you get into these comments, there's tons and tons of people that are seeing, that are going through the same things, especially on the student loan side. Right? There's a whole host of people. There was another tweet that I think I had tweeted out, or I had retweeted from somebody. Hold on, let me see if I can find it for you. No, I might not be able to find it for you, but let me see if I can real quick. Oh yeah, cool. Here it is. I'll reshare this with you and pull it back up on the screen so you guys can see it. But this was a tweet that I just retweeted again on the student loan side. And this person said, I borrowed $16,004. To date, I have paid more than $42,000. Think about that. She borrowed $16,000. To date, she's paid more than $42,000. So again, these type of loans, these type of student loans that are keeping people in debt. And when you go into her thread, you can see that there's a bunch of people saying the same exact things. Like, man, me too. I've paid back too much. Obviously the conversations around this student loan forgiveness side of things. Question, I mean, do you think they should be forgiven? Because there's a lot of people that are on both sides. And I know this has become a political conversation a lot of times more than just a financial conversation. But just know we were once at 1.3 or 1.2 trillion dollars in student loan debt. Somebody like that who is now feeling the grips of what debt is, maybe before she had a chance to understand what it was, maybe because there was a lack of financial education or lack of financial literacy, pressure to go to college, pressure to sign that document without understanding how much the interest was or how much they'd be paying back. Anybody feeling that way? Anybody feeling that way about their student loans? Anybody feeling that way about the debt that they have incurred? Again, now's the time. Give you a little hope. Now's the time to start paying attention to it. Student loans is one of those things. I've even said this. Maybe you can kick that can down the road because now it is a little bit more of a political issue. In all honesty, right? The government's probably going to do something. Who knows? But they probably will, right? Do something. Even if they didn't, the likelihood of people make the average person making 60 grand a year being able to pay off 100 grand in student loan debt is far-fetched, and be able, with this, what we just saw, money getting tight, cost of things rising, it's going to be tight. So maybe they should be forgiven. Maybe they shouldn't. All I know is if you are dealing with it, if you are dealing with some student loan debt, if you're dealing with credit card debt, now's the time to start to pay attention to how to make a plan on how to get yourself out of it. That's the important part. If you're going to either choose to kick the can down the road and be like, hey, I'm not going to think about it at all, so be it. There's some people I recommend, just don't even think about it. You've got bigger fish to fry. You might not be employed, right? You might not even be making good money. You might not be in your career. You probably should focus on those things. But if you do have some of it coming in and you do have debt, but you do have income and you're doing some things, now's the time to fix these cracks in your foundation so that you're not overwhelmed, so that you're not feeling like things are getting tight, and so that you can make sure that you're building a solid financial foundation for yourself. Those of you that are on LinkedIn know that we've been sourcing, like I said at the beginning of this episode, we've been sourcing some questions from you guys. We've been putting out some polls and trying to find out, again, because our job is to make sure that we are addressing the issues that people are having or the challenges people are having in their financial life. And if could be, we're here in your health life or in your fitness, right? Or just your overall wellness. But we specifically were looking at the money side. And I want to share a couple polls that we did with you. I'm just going to read them off, but a couple of these polls, again, are insights into what matters with people, what matters in this money world for a lot of us. One of the questions that we had was, what's your biggest financial priority at the moment? We asked people, what's your biggest financial priority at the moment? Here were the answers. 44% of people said investing to build wealth. 26% of people said paying off debt. 22% of people said building an emergency fund, and 7% of people said saving for a big purchase. So over, what's that? Is that 70%? 70% of people said investing to build wealth and paying off debt. 44% said investing to build wealth, 26% paying off debt. That is their biggest financial priority at the moment. It's a large percentage of people that are thinking about just those two things. The age-old question, should I invest? Should I pay off debt? Should I save more money? Should I pay off debt? Age-old question. And it's still, to this day, the thing that people are thinking about. That's their top priority. So if investing is the top priority, 44%, almost 45% of people said investing for the future is really the top priority for me. Well, we have to start again at the foundation to make sure that the foundation is good. You have good cash flow. It takes good cash flow to invest. I know there's somebody out there that's listening that says, right, you can invest with $50 a week, or sure, you can. But that's a very long road to get to where you want to go, especially if your foundation is not good. Because if you lose that job, if inflation goes up anymore, and you're now breaking even and living paycheck to paycheck, inevitably you will pull out of your investments. It's kind of human nature, right? I know a lot of financial people don't teach us that. They say just keep investing, right? You always hear the saying, like, if you just invest whatever $50 a week for 40 years of your life, like you'll in a 6%, you'll be a millionaire, or whatever people say. It's true by the numbers, not likely by our habits, not likely by the economy. It's not likely, especially if foundation isn't good. All it takes is losing one income. All it takes is having a major sickness. All it takes is having, right, some what we call doodad, right? Thanks, Robert Kiyosaki, for that one. Rich Dad, the game Cash Flow 101, he calls it doodads. You got to fix the tire. Here's a big one. You got to make some investments in your house. You got to improve your house. You know how many people pull money out of their accounts, their 401ks, their IRAs, their investment accounts to fix up their house, the house that they live in. They want to add an addition. They want to fix up the kitchen. They want to, right? Or their necessities, like the roof or the hot water heater blows, or the roof is leaking, or, right, your sidewalk has a hole in it. Like, that's now you have to put the money there, but you inevitably pull money out of investments to put it there because you actually don't have the money. You don't have 6 months of your income set aside in an emergency fund. Your foundation isn't strong. So now you're pulling out of those investments in order to do the things that you feel like you need to do to take care of this house or the things that you need. That's why it's just not practical. It's the right thing to say, just invest forever for 40 years and be consistent and get consistent growth and you'll make it. But that's just it. We haven't seen that happen for most people. There's a small percentage of people that have had job security and proper financial habits for 40 years of their life. So that's why that strategy doesn't always work. So that being said, though, when people say, hey, I want to, 44% of people said, I want to invest. Like, it's my top priority. I want to invest. The question is, how much are you investing, and how much do you think you can invest? Because most of the things that you want to invest in that are relatively risky to give you the best return, you have to be willing to not have those things, right? You'd have to be able to invest them and potentially lose them and still be okay financially. Most people aren't in that place, yet investing is top of mind for them. So we might have to have another conversation around investing to build wealth. But the other side of that question was, again, what's your biggest financial priority at the moment? Was paying off debt. And that's what I just finished talking about. Just get those debts paid off. Quarter of people, 26% of people are saying, hey, paying off debt is a huge priority at the moment. Great. So listen to some Dave Ramsey and get debt free, right? Get debt free. So that was one of the questions that we had. Another one of the questions that we sourced says, how often do you feel overwhelmed by the amount of financial information you encounter on a daily basis? Remember, I said in the beginning of this podcast, right? Like, there's noise coming from everywhere. Family, friends, social media, your coworkers, the books that you might read, right? Just gurus, whoever it is. So the question was, how often do you feel overwhelmed by the amount of financial information that you encounter on a daily basis? 57% said occasionally. 19% said frequently. 14% said almost never. And 10% said almost always. So if you add the 10% of almost always and the 57% of occasionally, that's 67% of people that are feeling overwhelmed more times than not. I mean, the frequently side, if you just took almost always and frequently, that's about 30% right there. So a third of people are saying that most of the time they're feeling some type of overwhelm with the financial information that they're getting or that's out there. What do we have to do? We talked about this in the beginning, guys. We just got to cut the noise. You got to get your board of directors. You got to get your one or two trusted people that you trust in that area and take guidance from them. A mentor of mine used to always say you can't have too many mentors, right? In the same area. Like you can't have 6 different business mentors that are all teaching you business, because they inevitably all got their different ways. Some of the things might be similar, but all the things aren't going to be the same. And some of them may even contradict because they're different and they had different paths. So same thing in our financial life. If you're trying to take information from CNBC and your coworker and a financial advisor that you see, right, and some people on social media and TikTok, if you're trying to take it all in and you have no way to like check it off with someone that you actually trust, respect, and know that they have your best interests, it's going to get confusing. It's going to get very overwhelming. So let's make sure that we're not doing that. Let's make sure that we are staying locked in to having that personal board of directors, just getting one person that you trust in that area. Still source the information, but then run it by the person that you trust. Run it by that coach. Run it by that mentor. Run it by that person. Hey, here's an article I saw. Hey, this is some things that I've been hearing. What are your thoughts on this? Hey, should I do this or this? I was thinking about purchasing this. Run it by them. We all need that person in all the areas of our life, especially if we're trying to get to the good life, health, wealth, love, happiness, right? Great mindset, fulfillment. We're trying to get to that place. We have to have some people in our corner that are helping us make some of those decisions. So that was another question we had sourced. Here's the third question that we had sourced from people. Do you think the current retirement system in the United States is sufficient for providing for a comfortable retirement? You guys won't be surprised at this. A whopping 96% of people said no. They said no, it's not. It is not. It is not sufficient for providing a comfortable retirement. Why? Because most people don't have pensions, right? I think there's a statistic that says less than 3% of companies actually offer a pension these days. 3%. So 97% of companies aren't offering a pension. I've given this education before. People that might be a little bit more old school in the financial space remember that there used to be this retirement model called the three-legged stool. The three-legged stool meant that you were going to retire on a pension, on Social Security, and personal savings. Those 3 things. And that personal savings normally was like a 401k or even like just a high yield savings account. But those were the 3 ways that you were going to be able to retire. Three-legged stool: pension, Social Security, personal savings. Well, if pensions go away and less than 3% of companies offer pensions, we're down to a 2-legged stool. Then Social Security put up an article or see an article. It said by 2035, it's going to be depleted, but really that just means they're going to have to cut it back. Never know, right? It might go away completely, but for sure it's going to have to cut back, where most people that would be getting that benefit are only going to get, 70% of that benefit instead of the 100%. They're only going to get 70 or 75%. So it might cut back. It might drop all the way down. We don't know. So that stool has a crack in it, right? That stool has is on its last leg, so to speak, right? And then you got personal savings, 401ks, IRAs, high yield savings accounts, cash value life insurance, like whatever you choose to do for your saving, that's your now retirement system. That's the only leg you have to stand on. That's a saying, right? I feel like that's a saying. I only got one good leg to stand on. That's it. You got one good leg to stand on. And people aren't doing well. We just watched videos. People aren't doing well. Wondering what's going on with these bills, wondering what's going on in our finances, wondering what's going on with the student loan debt, what's going on with our debt in general, what's happening with our time, or we're being overworked, underpaid, like what's happening? And yet people want to retire. But 96% of people said the current retirement system is not working. It does not provide a comfortable retirement. So we got to make some changes, ladies and gentlemen. This one I don't have an answer to. I don't have an answer to what it is. Often I tell people, go back to cash flow. In this capitalistic society that we live in, the actual answer is you got to make more money. Some people don't like it that we live in this society this way, but the society that we live in, you got to go make more money, guys. That's the answer. You got to take your income from where it is now to 10xing that. You got to find a way to start bringing in $15, $20, $30, $40,000 a month. I don't know what else to tell people. That's the way to get over it, because if things don't get better on the expense side of things, the only two things you can control in your financial life is spending less or making more. That's it. Spending less, making more. You wish you could control the investments that you make, but you really can't. You wish you can control the businesses that you own, but you kind of can't, right? You can do all the things inside of the business to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, but right? You still just got to control your revenue and expenses. It's all the same. So that was that question. That retirement system is not where we want it to be. And lastly, this just alluded to my last statement, but the last question we sourced said, what do you consider to be the most important factor in achieving financial freedom? What do you consider to be the most important factor in achieving financial freedom? On this one, I'll give you the answers that we put, and then I'll tell you what people said. Here are the answers. The answers were seeking financial help, saving and investing regularly, budgeting and managing money, or multiple streams of income. So what do you consider to be the most important factor in achieving financial freedom? Seeking financial help, saving and investing regularly, budgeting and managing money, or multiple streams of income. You want to know the answers? I'm sure you do, guys. Here's the answers. Here's what people said. The number one answer as to what people consider to be the most important factor in achieving financial freedom: building multiple streams of income. Building multiple streams of income. 44% of people said that's the most important factor in getting to freedom. I got to have more streams. I can't just rely on my job. I can't even just rely on one aspect of my business. I need more verticals in my business. I need more ways to be able to create income through one business, right? By the way, maybe we have another show on that. Huge misconception out there when you hear that term, multiple streams of income. Was having I heard one of my good friends and colleagues talk about something similar, that like this misconception around multiple streams of income when you're growing and becoming the entrepreneur and getting out there and kind of tasting some things. The misconception is that, because you hear the saying, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, right? The average successful person or millionaire has 7 streams of income. But the misconception is that all those streams of income were built at the same time or are all from different streams, right? We meet a lot of people that say, I have multiple streams of income because I have a trucking business, I have an online e-commerce store, I have a credit repair business, I flip pies on the side, I deliver groceries on the side, and I make platters at the same time, right? Like they're all just 8, 7 different things that, your credit business doesn't correspond with you delivering groceries, or right, you making your Etsy store. Like they're all different. So then we feel like we have no time. Back to that original lady, like we have no time to do anything. We're spread way too thin. That's the misconception when people say multiple streams of income. Typically, that millionaire that got to multiple streams of income actually got there through one business and then many verticals inside of that same business, and then using that business as leverage to create maybe one other business that complemented this current business that they had. They're all actually connected to some degree. When you are in business, you're an entrepreneur, and you wind up spending your time and energy and money in one business, and you're filling a need. Eventually, what comes up is there's another need that can be filled utilizing your same product, your same clients, the same resources that you already currently have. So it only makes sense to now create this other extension where you can create another vertical or something else to be able to create another stream of income for you. That's typically how it works. It's not that you do 7 different things that are all unrelated. It's that you do one thing, fill a need, create a business. Maybe you do have a financial business that then has an ebook or a course attached to it, but then also sells merchandise, but then also holds events that you make money from, but it's all actually from one business. And then once you see that, maybe you're like, hey, it makes sense for me to partner with this group of people or with this other business because my clients, the people I serve, could use that. And that could be a whole nother stream for me. That's really what it means to be able to have multiple streams of income. Since 44% of people believe that's the most important factor in achieving financial freedom, sure. First step is you got to start something. Start a business that like you can grow into. You don't have to do 6 different jobs. The old saying, right? You can't chase 2 rabbits. Some of you guys are out there chasing 4 rabbits. You ain't gonna catch any of them. All your businesses are going to be mediocre and bringing in $20,000 a year. Sure, it might all add up, but then one year, one of your businesses does negative 20,000 and now you're at a loss. Or 2 of your businesses do that. So we got to be clear on what that even means. Like I said, we might have to have another show on it. But since that was the answer, number one answer of what do you consider to be the most important factor in achieving financial freedom? People said multiple streams. Well, that's how you go build multiple streams. The second answer to that one that people rated high said budgeting and money management. So that was 33% of people. 33% of people said the most important factor in achieving financial freedom was budgeting well and managing their money well. Man, I follow that 100%. I follow that 100%. I think that that's one of the biggest things that people could do to actually continue to build their financial freedom is, like I said, go back to the foundation, get some money management skills. Money management really is habit management. Money management is really just habit management, right? Because our money is controlled by our emotions and our habits, the things that we want, the things that we can, if we can practice delayed gratification, the things that we justify, the wants versus the needs. That's what our money is really run by. So money management is really more like just habit management. It's really what it is. Can you manage your habits well? Can you manage your emotions well? That's as basic as it is, but I'll tell you, that's a huge part to building financial freedom. Because if you can't manage your money, if you can't manage your emotions, as Warren Buffett says, if you can't manage your emotions, you can't manage your money. So there's no way to be free and build financial freedom if you can't manage those things. So I agree with this group of people. Again, 33% of people said that this was the most important thing to being able to build some form of financial freedom was going to be the budgeting and managing money side of things. And then tied for the last one, saving and investing regularly and seeking financial help. Both of those were tied at 11%. Both of those were tied at 11%. So, yeah, guys, this is what people are talking about out there. These are the thoughts. These are the conversations that are being had around money. Any of the things that I dove into today, one, I just know if it resonates with you, just know you're not alone. Understand that first and foremost. Like, you're not alone. If you're feeling overwhelmed, embarrassed because you got, right, like no time to do anything, you don't have time to take care of yourself, you don't have time to take care of your health and your money and the kids and all the stuff, don't worry, you're not alone. But I gave you a couple of tools on how to prioritize yourself and prioritize yourself within the time that you have in the morning, in the evening, finding a little bit of breathe time in the middle of the day. If you're getting tight with your money, if money's getting tight, if you're seeing bills go up. Listen, guys, I just went grocery shopping earlier today and came back home and told my wife, like, we just spent $200 on like not a lot of food. And it wasn't like all like high-end food or meats and stuff like that. It was just basic stuff. Guys, I paid $10 for 6 scallions, for 6 bunches of scallions. They were 3 for $5 at the grocery store I went to. It's ludicrous, right? It's crazy. It is what it is. But I know people are feeling it. People are feeling it in their money. So what do we got to do? What's the solution? How do you get the hope back? Get back into the foundation. Start to piece together those cracks, those chinks that you have down there that we've kind of neglected over the past 10 years because the market's been good, because money's been good. It's going to start coming to light. It's going to come to light really fast. So let's get back to the basics. Let's look at what's coming in, what's going out. Let's make sure we're saving. Let's look at our debt. Let's look at that student loan debt. Let's look at those credit card bills. Let's look at all that stuff and let's create a plan for how do we then back down some of those things and then be able to fix some of those chinks, so to speak, some of those cracks in our foundation. And lastly, we saw some of these polls, but that last poll is the important one. What's the most important thing in building that financial freedom or getting to where you got to go? Let's go get multiple streams of income. Let's go use our creativity. Let's go use our skill set. Let's go use our talent. You probably won't create multiple streams of income without creating a skill set or identifying a different skill set than you have, or identifying the skill set that you have and going out and building a business. You can either create a new skill set or identify the skill set you have, go out and build a business, serve some people, and then let that thing grow and grow into multiple streams for yourself. Some of you might be able to hit it big. You have an e-commerce thing or something online or some way that you're able to just, run some funnels or do some of those things. That's great, right? Still might not be multiple streams. Still might be able to get shut down quickly. And your income might go from whatever you're doing a month down to zero. So you might want to find some ways to branch out, to get some emails, to give them a different product, to get a different service. But these are some of the ideas you're going to have to put into play in order to really build to the place you want to get to. Remember, that good life, the name of the show, that good life, the great life. It's health, wealth, love, happiness, relationships, mindset, fulfillment, all the things that we want to see and have and be in our life to design the life that we want. That's why we do what we do. Guys, right there on the bottom of the screen, it says, hey, if you want more access, jump into our Facebook group. Kabi and myself, Kabi will be back next week. Hopefully, right? Safe travels. He'll get back next week and we'll continue these conversations. But if you want more access to us, join our Facebook group. Again, we're trying to keep a tight community for those of you that want to continue to ask questions and engage and maybe get some one-on-one time. For anybody that needs one-on-one time financially, again, my handle CMuzon1. You guys have been following and seeing us a bunch. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to send the message on LinkedIn or send the Facebook message or contact us anywhere that you see us, because we're more than happy to have these conversations and help you put yourself in a position to design the life that you want, guys. That's it for today's episode. Talking real money matters, right? Really what's happening out there with money. If any of these things resonated with you, leave some comments, drop some things in the comments, leave your thoughts, leave your 2 cents. It might help somebody else that, again, might be going through some of these things. It might be able to help them. So we appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Make sure you come back next week for another episode. Until then, peace.
Welcome to the good life.